I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Yo, welcome back. I got to be a little reserved. Got family here. Now, let's get into this. Hit the like button. Support the page. It's a little late in the night. Don't want to wake up the whole house. But donate to the Cash App, which is Carcino. Y'all know what time it is. We're getting ready to get into the whole thing and let y'all know the whole deal. Now, if you want to know what's going on with Metro and Drake for real, it's on the Patreon. The video's already up. Now, let's continue with this. Drake has got more bad news on the horizon. Oh, buddy, it's already arrived. And unfortunately for him, these things just keep getting worse. Keeps getting worse for Champagne Sloppy. Sloppy wanted to put all this in motion and talk about numbers. Talk about how he was unfairly viewed. Now, because of what he wanted to do in the position that he played with his lawyers who are trying to pretend as if Drake, UMG doesn't own anything of Drake's. It's basically a loan. So because they are looking at it as a loan, that's how they are pursuing it. Complete loan, like it's a licensing agreement only. They're licensing him the music, which is not true whatsoever. It's not just a licensing deal. And he's all going to recruit when the terms are met. Well, the terms is only going to met when they recoup the money that they put in, plus the earnings that they get from the tours, the shows, that it's all a Blur tour that did 320 some million. Universal eats off that. They eat off the merchandise. They eat off everything that he does until the terms is met. Then it's time to get to a deal when you met the terms. Drake wants to renegotiate. They don't have to renegotiate. That's the thing about renegotiations. They don't have to if they don't want to. Now that that's addressed, we get to the next level, the next stage of the evolution. The success of Not Like Us has broke Drake into pieces. This song has put this boy in a blender. A huge blender. And because of the success of the pop out and how this song every couple months keep coming back to kick him right in the face, he's blaming the entire world for everything crumbling. Yep. And now the scissor tour is going to put him behind the 8 ball. But the spotlight on his numbers was starting to go under a microscope during her loss, when Metro Boomin had made a statement that could no one believe what was happening with the numbers with Drake. Oh yeah, champagne sloppy. See, when he went up against Future and Metro, that was going to be the very telling battle. He was not going to be able to basically win and come up nice under. So trying to mend those beefs was very important to him, because they're very huge with the younger audience, from 17-year-old all the way to 32. They have that demographic on lock. Some even going up into the 40s and probably higher. But Metro and Future are doing just fine without Drake. Now, Drake wanted to make like, without me, there's no them. But Future had the streets. Drake did not. Now, Drake's lawsuit with Spotify is going to look a little shisty to the world due to this. Spotify stream counts. Drake has 13 billion Spotify streams numbers, right? Far more than Ed Sheeran, who has 9, Justin Bieber at 8, The Weeknd at 5, Post Malone at 5, J Balvin, Kendrick Lamar's at 4, almost 5 billion, 4.5 billion. The Chainsmokers is at 5, Ozuna, Rihanna's at 4, almost 5. And you're seeing Drake is at 13 billion, the highest streaming artist on Spotify. How are you going to sue Spotify when you're the highest streamed person on Spotify? How are you going to involve them in a potential lawsuit with a pre-action? What are your grounds? What is your damages? What are you saying that they've decided to turn on you because you're not hot right now? You're still the top streamed artist in the history of Spotify. Now they're going to have to explain why you are there. Oh, absolutely. They would have to explain the reason that you are there, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. Hit the like button. The Cash App, Super Chat, all works. Mm-hmm. We just getting started. Because now that you bring this up, if this ever goes to court, they're going to have to review your numbers. And you'll have to explain, well, why would they do that to you? I mean, do that for another artist and not do that for you. That would seem like an oxymoron. It just seems like, okay, if they're in the business of doing this, what would protect you from this business? And are you willing to say that you got, favorable treatment? Which brings us to Metro and your boy, Drizzy Dre. See, in this scenario, Drizzy, Champagne Sloppy, did one or two things wrong. His ambition, desire, or whatever you want to call it, led him to get desperate. And in desperation, you do desperate things. As stated before, as stated before, if you want to watch what happened between Metro and Drake, you have to go to the Patreon. We have it already done. The Carcino for Life Patreon. So we're not going to go into the full scope of this. Let's just take it from where it is. Okay? Now, from where it is now, you have this. Now, what are the terms when it comes to this? Well, according to the world, Metro put it on blast that it's all about politics when it comes to dealing with Drake. Drake was behind 1.3 billion streams from Heroes and Villains when he put out Her Loss. And at that time, him and Metro were not seen eye to eye, yet they never went public with a spat and still remained cordial until Metro told the world what was going on when Drake got one for Album of the Year, for won the Grammy for Album of the Year for Her Loss over Heroes and Villains, when clearly the world has spoken. Metro was doing like 10 million a day in streams, and Drake was like at 4 million when that was out, the albums. And it was not even close. Not even close. Even if you compare the two albums, Heroes and Villains is looked at as probably the best album out of Metro's whole catalog. So what happened? All of a sudden, how did the streaming numbers for heroes and villains start to dissipate, and Drake and her loss numbers started to go up, started to expand. Well, first of all, they waste their time going on Saturday Night Live. Um, Michael B. Jordan was there, and Drake and 21 Savage came out and did this. This is the biggest project in 21's life, but that was a bad look. Well, it wasn't a bad look. It's just that not the demographic that's going to buy a Drake and 21 Savage album. They're not going to watch Saturday Night Live. Now, it came out with a lot of momentum. But the album quickly, was looked at as subpar from what they expect from, like, what they expect to get out of Drake. Now, we already know the song "Gang It" was recorded by Project Pat and 21 Savage with Metro there, right? So they recorded that song. Drake got on it and called it Knife Talk because he couldn't put that in the title on a Drake album. So that changed the perspectives. It changed everything around and flipped it on top of its head. And yeah, well, when these things start to happen, things spiral out of control. Then comes, in the midst of this 2-year petty battle, Drake's numbers went under the radar. Even though they were low, Metro numbers didn't seem to grow. Even though the people are playing it and requesting it, Drake gets a boost from Spotify. And Drake is on the homepage of Spotify. Just all Drake songs from people who are paying premium, which was very weird and mysterious. Why was Drake numbers up there? That shouldn't have been there. So why were you the homepage? Why were people being directed and totally marketed and advertised to? It did not make sense. Because Drake is accusing Spotify of spamming Kendrick's music to people. But like I said, 6 years ago, they had to do this and apologize and gave people refunds for basically the same thing for your music, spamming it everywhere on all platforms. It's like somebody playing 4D chess. Now, Nikki, your new best friend, told the whole wide world Spotify put Drake's face on every playlist, but told me that they'll have to teach me a lesson for playing my music 10 minutes early on Queen's radio, even though they've been giving away my music for free for years. and I am the one on the top Spotify artists of all time. See, Drake is putting a pre action in place because he doesn't like when he's not put or treated special. He's the only one that's supposed to get the promotions. He's the only one that's supposed to be catered to. If someone else is getting catering and not him, I'm going to blow up the whole operation. So it's going to look bad for Sloppy. And this is why he's never going to file this lawsuit. This is just the pre action to throw it out there to try to embarrass Spotify and embarrass Universal so that they don't support Kendrick Lamar. They're going to be, we're scared. We can't do it. Then you realize one or two things, right? That is actually organic. It's actually organic, and people don't care. Not one way or another. They just don't care. It's the hottest song out, and that is why they are doing it. They have no concern, nowhere else on the floor and the team do they even care. Now, here's the real problem. Let's come here. As you see, this is where he started his spiraling out of control. As you can see, back in March 21st, when Like That came out, and how far the record went, Like That was up here above Drake. Drake is trending and streaming below Like That. So Like That comes out. This is Kendrick Lamar's his rise, right? He's above Drake. Starts to taper off around April. Then push-ups come. Now Drake is up here, Kendrick is below him, Drake is back on top, right? Push-ups, he's riding that, and then in between push-ups comes the tailor-made freestyle. Kendrick hasn't put anything out, but Like That is still hot, so the song is still being played. Then Euphoria drops. Boom. Kendrick number shoots up. Drake stays at an even kill. Then comes 616. Kendrick is up huge numbers, right? The numbers here are exponentially high for K Dot. Because once that Euphoria hit, and then here comes the 616 that's doing good. Drake's numbers is pretty low. Then he comes out with Family Matters. Boom, it kicks off, right? And right when things was going down for K Dot, soon as Family Matters came out and everything was booming for him, at the same time, 18 minutes later, here comes Meet the Grams. Boom, numbers shoot up. And then Not Like Us drops. They drop back to back. So Meet the Grams and Not Like Us come out less than 24 hours behind each other. And when Not Like Us dropped, it was a mega bomb and it shot all the way up. And Drake's everything for him is down. This is how far the gap is from Drake and Kendrick now. Drake has done everything to keep digging himself in the hole, going further down. Now, that is not Universal and Spotify's fault. You can't lift yourself up, and your numbers are going down. And Kendrick Lamar is the hottest thing going. So yeah, they're gonna put a lot of advertisement into Kendrick. They're gonna do everything because Kendrick is the hottest thing going. Had you won, they would have backed you. They would have got right behind you and said, "Hey, Drake is the superstar. He beat Kendrick Lamar, but because you lost, in the fashion you did, and you don't have a song better than Not Like Us. You're upset because the song makes you look really bad by just putting a mirror in front of your face. And you can't recover from it. And you're fighting this losing, spiraling war. And what for? So let's keep everything in perspective. Yeah, don't jump off the cliff when you don't have to. Oh, 100%. So what you want to do is make sure that you got everything in perspective. Oh yeah. Well, there's plenty of the things that you could do. There's plenty of activities. There's plenty of oh yeah. Well, when you look at it, you'll see. There's so much that goes on that other people won't be able to understand, but the rest of us would. Now, yeah, when you look at everything in totality, you start to see that he did this to his own self. Every attempt to dig himself out of the grave, he kept putting himself further back in it. So the numbers are failing him because he's failing. Universal did everything in their power to keep you on top. Like Heroes and Villains was the most revealing because it was like one of the first times people had seen Drake not really being number one. Yeah. Well, when people see, yeah, people see the way, right, everybody under the scope is, and when you got things to protect assets, and Drake is only relevant if he's relevant in music. These opportunities only come for him because he's relevant in that space. So if he's not relevant in that space, what good is he? He's not going to help you. So you can cry all you want to Metro or anybody else. The whole world sees it for what it is. Well, they let one song beat them, and it was really a chess move. He hit him with the high energy records. Then he got introspective, created the doubt, made him doubt himself with the 616, made him completely doubt the people around him. Then Meet the Grams brought him to a creepy conversation amongst the families, talking to him, explaining the behavior. And then comes the celebration of the defeat, which was the dancing on the headstone, which was not like us. That was the radio friendly club hit that they said he couldn't do, that Drake is known for. They were able to provide. Yes, it's all about the revenue. Then the minions that they put in place who know nothing about hip hop, they know nothing about the core industry or anything. These people are what you would call minions. And they've been inserted to try to protect this guy for perks, just to have the perk to conversate with him. He doesn't even pay them. They're doing it for perks. Yeah, well, when you work hard, you deserve some time off. So all this Drake vacation stuff really wasn't a vacation at all. It was been an ongoing nightmare for him. He couldn't afford to vacation. He's forced to sit down and try to work on music, and he doesn't know where to go with this album. Because here it is, he wants to come out with the R&B album with Party Next Door, but the momentum of Kendrick Lamar makes him wants to come out with a rap album. And it's just looking bad. Sloppy's out here looking bad. And it's only going to get worse. Who will be the next puppet to be slayed? That's the narrative. It's always moving the goalposts. They always doing it. Oh yeah, I've seen it, but the numbers didn't lie. So I mean, Nikki even told you. Not bad. It already went for a while. I gave you a treat. I already gave you a dog treat. What you need? She's like, I'm hungry now. All right, let me feed this dog. So don't forget, go to the Patreon, see what happens. There's more coming on J. Cole situation with Kendrick on the Patreon too. So we about thanking you